Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're going way beyond that old saying about an elephant's memory. We're going to ask what that memory is actually for. We're diving deep into their incredibly complex social world, a world that's built on knowledge, on relationships, and yeah, on culture.
Okay, so let's just jump right in. We've all heard it a million times. An elephant never forgets. But it's so much more than just remembering where the closest water hole is. It's about remembering family, social rules, how to navigate a world that is always changing. This social memory, it's the very foundation of their society. And when it breaks down, well, the consequences can be devastating, not just for them, but for us too. So to really understand their society, we've got to understand the elephants themselves first. Let's take a look at the biological blueprint that makes their incredibly rich social lives even possible.
First up, the basics. We're generally talking about two main species that most people are familiar with. You've got the larger African elephant and then the slightly smaller Asian elephant. And while they might look similar at first glance, there are some really simple ways to tell them apart. You can actually become an expert spotter pretty quick with a few tricks. Just look at the ears. The African elephants are huge, shaped kind of like the continent of Africa itself. Easy to remember, right? Their Asian cousins have much smaller, rounder ears. Then check out the trunk. African elephants have two little fingers at the tip for grabbing stuff, while Asian elephants just have one. These aren't just little details. They're all part of their unique design.
And this is one of my favorite, absolutely wild facts about them. Unlike us, elephants get 6 sets of these massive molars in their lifetime. But they don't grow up from the jaw. No, they move forward on a kind of conveyor belt. A new one pushes in from the back, and the old, worn-out one just breaks off and falls out the front. You can actually get a pretty good estimate of an elephant's age just by seeing which set of teeth it's on.
And honestly, their whole body is just this incredible survival machine. It all starts with that brain, the largest of any land animal, which is the hardware for that legendary memory. Their trunk is like the ultimate multi-tool, strong enough to rip down a tree, but delicate enough to pick a single berry. And to beat the heat, they have a built-in cooling system. Just flapping those giant ears cools the blood flowing through them. Pretty neat. But here's the really crucial point. All of this incredible biology, it isn't just for one elephant to survive on its own. No, it's the platform for something much, much bigger. It's what supports a social structure so complex it actually rivals our own. So let's pull back the curtain and see how all these pieces build the social fabric of elephant life. Because this is where their intelligence really, truly shines. You see, an elephant herd isn't just a big, random blob of animals wandering around. They live in what scientists call a fission-fusion society. What that means is the main family group might split up into smaller units to find food, that's the fission, and then they'll merge back together later on, that's the fusion. It's this super fluid dynamic network that's all based on deep family ties and, what they need to survive. At the very heart of this society is the family unit, and it's led by a matriarch. She is almost always the oldest, wisest female, and her job is absolutely critical. Think of her as the living library, the hard drive for the entire group. She's the one who remembers where to find water during a brutal drought, or how to handle different threats. And the younger females? They all pitch in, acting like aunts, and learning how to care for the little ones by helping to raise their younger siblings and cousins. And the guys? Well, they have their own whole journey. When they hit their teenage years, they leave the family herd. But their education is far from over. They go out and find older, more established bulls. These big, experienced males become mentors, teaching the younger guys the rules of the road. Social etiquette, how to compete for mates, basically how to be a successful, well-adjusted adult elephant. That knowledge transfer is just vital. So this all sounds like a pretty robust system, right? But what happens when you tear that social fabric apart? What happens when the matriarchs and the old bulls, the keepers of all this critical knowledge, are suddenly gone? Well, researchers have looked into this, specifically in populations where older elephants have been taken out by poaching or culling, and the findings, they're pretty chilling. This quote really gets to the core of it. Without those role models, these young, orphaned elephants grow up with serious social and behavioral problems, including being much, much more aggressive. And this isn't just some abstract idea. This aggression has a real-world cost, a devastating one. This number, 1,702, that's the total number of lives, both human and elephant, lost to conflict in India in just a 2-year span. It is a tragic cycle where confused, displaced elephants and vulnerable people both end up paying the ultimate price.
And this right here is the heart of the problem. It's not just a numbers game about a declining population. The crisis we are actually facing is a cultural one. We are seeing whole generations of elephants who have lost their social compass, lost their elders, and lost the knowledge they need to coexist. They've literally lost their way.
Okay, so with this deep and frankly sobering understanding of their social needs, how does that change things on the ground? Well, it is fundamentally changing how we care for elephants in zoos. It's about moving way beyond just their basic biological needs to actively supporting their social and their psychological well-being. So let's look at a super clear example. On the left, you've got a wild elephant doing what it does naturally, wallowing in the mud for skincare and to cool off. Now look on the right. You can see how that knowledge is applied in a modern zoo. Those huge sand piles aren't just there to be a soft place to sleep, they are designed into the habitat to encourage those same natural rusting and skincare behaviors, mimicking what they do in the wild. Now, one of the biggest, most important shifts in modern elephant care is this system called protected contact. And the key idea is actually really simple. Keepers and elephants never share the same space without a protective barrier between them. This totally removes the old need for dominance and lets them build a relationship based on positive reinforcement. It's just so much safer for the staff and for the animals. And this is what it looks like in the real world. Through these specially designed barriers, keepers can train elephants to voluntarily participate in their own healthcare. I mean, look at this. We're seeing a mouth and tusk inspection on the left and absolutely crucial foot care on the right. It's all done safely, calmly, and without stress. So when you put it all together, how do you actually mend that social fabric in a zoo? Well, you start by copying the blueprint from the wild. You honor those deep, deep family bonds by keeping mothers and daughters together for life. For the young males, you create bachelor groups. But, and this is the critical part, you make sure there's an older guide bull there to be a mentor and keep the youngsters in line. It's all about designing a world that respects their natural social structure, giving them choices to be together or to have time alone, just like they would in the wild. Which brings us to this final and I think really profound question. As we look at conservation today, it's becoming crystal clear that saving a species isn't just about preserving habitat and DNA. For intelligent, deeply social animals like elephants, maybe true conservation means we also have a responsibility to save their culture. Thanks for watching.